Hello, in this video I'm gonna show you a full setup and how to play guide of board game Carcassonne. First, let's talk about what's inside of the box. And inside of the box you get 72 land tiles, the scoreboard, 40 followers in 5 different colors, 8 followers each, and instructions. And now let's talk about what the game is about. And in this game the players place the land tiles turn by turn. This leads to the growth of roads, cities, cloisters and farms, to which the players may deploy their followers in order to earn points. As points can be won during the game as well as at the end, the winner will only emerge during the final scoring. And how to prepare the game. First, place the starting tile, which is this dark tile, dark on the bottom. Place it face up, somewhere in the middle. Then give each player followers of their chosen color. So the game supports from 2 to 5 players, and I'm gonna set up the game for 2 players. And one of the followers of each player's supply goes to 0 on the scoreboard, and the scoreboard should be placed in the edge of the table, so it doesn't interrupt placing of your tiles. And the rest of the land tiles should be placed face down in several stacks somewhere on the table, so everyone can access them easily. And the youngest player decides who starts the game. The game progresses in clockwise direction, and the player whose turn it is carries out these actions in this certain order. First, the player must draw 1 new land tile and place it. Then the player may draw 1 follower from their supply, if they want to, and deploy to the tile just placed. And if any roads, cities or cloisters are completed throughout the placement of the tile, they must be scored now. And then it's the next player's turn. And now I'm gonna show you how to place a tile. First, as the first action of the player must draw a tile from one of the stacks. The tile is then shown to the other players so they can advise the player about where to place it, and then placed on the table. But the player must take care to observe that at least one side of the new tile must touch one or more tiles already already in play, and corner to corner placement is not permitted. So, when the player draws a new tile, they cannot place it corner to corner. It must touch one of the sides at least. So, like that, or like that. And also, you must observe that any city, road and field segments must continue segments already in play. A newly placed land tile must fit the adjacent terrain on all edges. During placements, it is not enough to look for only one side that fits. So, you cannot place it like that, nor like that, because it doesn't match the city segment. And the youngest player is the red one, so it was their turn, and they have placed it like that. And they may, if they want to, deploy a follower. And a follower may be a thief on the road. You can only deploy a follower on the just placed by you tile. And it can be a thief on the road. It can be a farmer on the farm segment. And as you can see, this road is a border between two farms. So that's a different farm, and that's a different farm. So you can place it here or here. Or here as a thief, or also if there was a cloister, you can place it as a monk in the cloister, or as a farmer. Or if there was a city, then it can be a knight in the city, a farmer here, a thief here, or a farmer here. But you must remember that in order for the follower to become a farmer, it must lay down. In other cases, it stands up, and it cannot be already occupied by a different player. So if it was like that and there was a thief already on the road, or if there was yours a thief, then you cannot place a new one on already occupied road, and it doesn't matter if it's occupied by you or a different player. Okay, but let's move on. To the next part of the game, and now I'm gonna show you just how I play the game, so you can observe how to place tiles and how to count finished score, how to score finished road, cities or cloisters. So now it was the red player's turn, so now it's the yellow player's turn. They get this tile and they can place it, for example, to match to the city or to match to a road. So they can, for example, place it like that, and let's say they want to deploy a knight. They don't have to deploy a follower, but they may. And remember that when you deploy a knight, a thief or a monk, they are not returned to you until you finish the city, road or cloister. And when you deploy a farmer, it is not returned to you till the end of the game. Okay, and now it's the red player's turn. And they place the tile here and also deploy a farmer. Then the yellow player, and you need to observe that this is a field that continues here up to here. So if that yellow player wants to deploy a farmer, they can deploy it here because it's a different farm, but they cannot deploy it here because it's an occupied farm. But in a case they have placed it like that, so that the farms weren't connected, and they were that was the yellow player's farm and that was the red player's farm. And then this tile was placed that connects it, then the farm is yellows and reds players' farm, so they can be both the owners of the farm but we're gonna talk about scoring it later, because farms are being scored at the end of the game. Now it's the red player's turn, and they get this junction, and when I place it like that, then this road is finished. A road is finished when the both ends of the road finish at a junction, close a formed circle, end on cities, on cloisters, and just when the road has an end, and it cannot end in nothing. So now the player who occupies the roads gets the points. So in that case it's the red player, but if the road was unoccupied, then the player who has placed this tile which finished the road would get the points. And how to count the score for the road? Just count how many tiles that does the road take. That's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tiles. So that's 6 points, because that's gonna be one point for each tile. And now it's the yellow. And now if the road was occupied, the follower is being returned to the owner. And it's the yellow player's turn. And the yellow player gets this cloister. They can place it, for example, here, but they could have also placed it here, and they would finish a road. But let them place it here. And they may, but don't have to, deploy a monk. Now it's at the red player's turn, and they get this junction. They place it here, and now they have finished 2 roads, this one and this one. And that's gonna be 4 points, because one road is 2 tiles long, and the second road is 2 tiles long, and they are both unoccupied, so the player who has placed the tile gets the points, and that's the red player. So the red player goes to 10. Now the yellow player. They get this tile, and they can, for example, place it here, but they might have placed it here. Then they would close the city, because a city is closed when there's no gap in the city walls. But also they could have placed it here or here to also finish a city. But since they have chosen to place it here, it's now the next player's turn. That's gonna be the red player. They get this tile, and they, for example, place it here because it matches here. Okay, now the yellow player, and they can place it, for example, here. This symbol here is a pennant, and that's gonna give you bonus points. I'm gonna talk about that when we finish a city. Now it's the red player's turn, and they get a cloister. They can place it wherever it matches, and the cloister will be finished when it's surrounded by 8 tiles on every side. Now, and also the red player chooses to place the monk, but they don't have to. Now it's the yellow player's turn, and they can place it, for example, here, because it matches. Now the red player and the red player puts this tile, for example, here, and places their thief on this road. Now the yellow player, and they can place it, for example, here. you can see that this city is getting really big. Now it's the red player's turn, and they can place this tile, for example, here. Now the yellow player, and that's gonna be, for example, here, and when it's placed here, this city is closed, and a city is scored 2 points for each tile the city takes, and also 2 extra points for each pennant, this shield symbol, but this city doesn't contain any pennants, so that's 4 points for the yellow player for the city. And now it's the red player's turn, and they can place it here, or they might have placed it in a different place, so they would, for example, close this city, but they have chosen to place it like that. Now it's the yellow player's turn, and you can see that this tile needs to match city on all of the sides, so it can, at the moment, it can be only placed here. Now the red player, and they can place it here. Also, let's go back a moment, and when the yellow player has placed the city segment, they have chosen to place a knight here. And then it's the red player's turn. They place this tile, and now it's the yellow player's turn, and they get this tile, and when they place it here, they close a road from this junction to the city, and that's 4 points. That's 2 points, sorry, because 1 point for each tile it takes for the road, and the road was unoccupied, so the player who has placed the tile gets the points. Okay, and now the red player puts the tile here, and now the yellow player puts the tile here, and you can see that the city is closed almost everywhere now, but it has 2 more exits. You can build the city bigger, or you can close it. Now it is the red player's turn, and they get this tile, and when they place it here, they have finished the cloister, and it was the red player's cloister, so that's 9 points, because that's 1 point for each tile that created the cloister. And now it's the yellow player's turn. And the yellow player puts their tile, for example, here, and that finishes this exit from the city. There's only 1 more left. Then the red player, and when they place it here, they finish unoccupied city, and that's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiles, so that's 10 points plus 2 bonus points for 1 pennant, so that's 12 points for the red player who has finished this city. And now the yellow player's turn. Also, when the red player has finished their cloister, also the follower goes back to that red player. Now the yellow player's turn, and it's gonna be this tile which will go here, and this will close an occupied city. Occupied city is occupied by this yellow knight, and let's score it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tiles. So that's 20 points, and also 3 pennants, so that's 6 bonus points, 26 points for the yellow player. So that they get 42 points in total, and the follower is back to their owner. And now it is the red player's turn, and they can place this tile, for example, here. Then the yellow player, and they can put it here. Now the red player gets this cloister, and they can place it here. And they can leave it unoccupied if they want to. Then the yellow player, and when they place it here, then the city gets finished and it's unoccupied. So since the yellow player has finished it, that's gonna be 1, 2, 3 tiles, so 6 points plus 2 bonus points, so that's 8 points for the yellow player. And now it's the red player's turn, and they can place it, for example, here. And also they may deploy a farmer. Okay, and now it's the yellow player's turn, and when they place this junction here, they have finished 2 roads. This road and this road. So let's score it. That's gonna be 2 points for this road, and 1, 2, 3, 4 points for that. So that's 8 points in total. So the player goes to 48 points, and as you can see on the scoreboard, it's getting close to the 0. When it goes past the 0, you need to lay it down to indicate that the player has gotten over 50 points. Okay, and now the red player places the tile here. Now the yellow player places the tile here, and the last thing is gonna be this tile placed by the red player. And now, since the last tile was just placed, it's time for the final scoring. And first, before scoring the farms, let's score unfinished cloisters, unfinished cities, and unfinished roads. First, let's talk about roads. This road is unfinished, and to score it, just count how many tiles the road has. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's gonna be 7 points for the red player. The thief goes back to the owner, and the player moves on the scoreboard. Now let's see if there are any occupied unfinished cities, and there is one, and that's gonna be 1 point In the final scoring, for unfinished cities, you get only 1 point for each tile of the city, so that's 3 points plus 1 point for each pennant. So for unfinished cities, these values decrease. And that's gonna be 5 points in total, and the yellow player goes past the 0. So that's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now the yellow player has 53 points. And it returns to the owner. Now, let's see if there's something unfinished. Unfinished cloister. And since this cloister is unfinished, you get just 1 point for that cloister. So that's gonna move the yellow player to 54 points. And now let's score the farms. Farms are usually unfinished, and to score them, you need to count how many finished cities border the farm. And as you can see, this red player has this farm which looks like this. So it's a different farm than this player's farm. So only the red player gets 3 points for each city, each finished city, and there's only one finished city that borders this farm, so that's 3 points for the red player. And now let's score the rest of the farms, and as you can see, there is this farm which has this border, and it has 2 farmers of different players. In that case, the player who gets the points is gonna be the player who has more farmers on the farm. For example, if there were 2 yellow farmers, then the yellow player gets the points. But if there's a tie, then both players get the full points. And that's gonna be 1, 2, 3 finished cities bordering the farm. So that's 9 points for each player. And now the game is scored, and you can see that the yellow player has won the game because they got 63 points, and the red player has got 30 points. And that's all. That's the full setup and how to play guide on Carcassonne. That's all for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.